This is the Regained Wellness Podcast with Jamie Logie, episode 176, Common Reasons You Might Not Be Building Muscle. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jamie. I run regainedwellness.com, and this is the Regained Wellness Podcast. Thanks for coming on out. If it's your first time here, extra special thanks. Not that there's a special thanks for people who have been listening. Everyone gets thanked. That's how it works around here. So this episode is on more fitness related topic and has to do with building muscle. And if you've been training, working out in the gym or strength training or being more active, lean muscle is something everyone wants. Like, we're not talking about crazy giant bodybuilder swole muscle here, but good, healthy, lean muscle. And if you've been struggling in gaining some, this episode is going to break down reasons why it might not have been happening, or it's, stalling or taking longer than you expect. So before we start, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I should be there. That way they automatically get sent you each week. Okay, that's out of the way. Let's get right to it. So like I was just saying, if you're interested in health, fitness, muscle building is probably one of your main goals, especially if you've been working out. You want to work out hard and smart, but you don't want to waste your time. So you want to give yourself all the opportunities you can to build as much muscle as possible. So this is going to be at the top of the list of why people want to get fit. Usually, weight loss is number one, gaining strength. But, with lean muscle, it not only looks good, obviously, it's really actually valuable to your overall health. So when you increase your lean muscle mass, you're going to experience things like better posture, better joint protection. You're going to strengthen your bones. You're going to get stronger joints and tendons. You're going to increase your metabolism. You're going to improve athletic performance or ability. You're going to improve your balance. It goes, a lot further than this, but you can see how it's, not just for looking good at the beach. Muscle obviously is functionally important to your body. So if you're on this muscle building quest, let's look at 12, maybe 13 different common mistakes why you might not be building muscle and how to avoid that. Okay, first one, not eating enough. So all that time in the gym, working out, pounding away at it, might all be for naught if you're not taking in enough calories. When you're not in a calorie surplus, you can make muscle building really difficult. So you not only need the calories to fuel your workouts, you need them for your body to repair and grow. So this is where it gets a little messy because calorie counting is far from a perfect science, and there's a lot of issues that come with it. You don't know how many calories you're actually eating. You don't know how many your body's burning. Your body's not a calculator. It's not as simple as calories in, calories out. Your body's a biological organism, and it's going to change depending on a ton of different conditions. So, but to get a rough idea of where you may need to be to build muscle, you want to take your weight in pounds and multiply it by 15 to 17. So that's going to give you kind of the rough idea of how many calories your body is going to need. And like I said, just get a rough idea and then start working around that. Some people do like to be more specific with calorie counting, and I totally get that. People like to track a lot of stuff. Just know that it's not as simple as a mathematical equation. This is just to get you started and just to give you a good. You might not have any idea how many calories you're taking in a day. It's amazing. I find that people who are not aware and you have them track for a couple of days, one day to the next might seem completely the same. One day they might be taking in 800 calories. The next day might be 4,000. And it's just surprising when people don't know where they are. So you need to just get that starting point, and that's a good way to get it. Okay. Next thing, number 2, you're not consuming enough protein. So protein is important for many functions in the body. Also, it's important for the act of muscle building, which technically we call muscle protein synthesis. So you work out to break down the muscle fibers with these little microscopic tears. That's what happens from the training. And when they repair, that's when they build back bigger and stronger. Over time, this increases your lean muscle mass. So to repair and rebuild your muscle tissue, you need an adequate protein supply. So Again, this rule of thumb. We're not trying to get it specific down to the gram, but as a starting point and to see what it's going to look like, you want to aim for around 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, taking out calculator, you want to shoot for around 120 grams of protein a day. Again, you don't know if you're going to actually be absorbing and digesting exactly 120 grams. You don't know if you're eating a piece of meat, the protein content can vary by 10, 20%. I'm just saying it's something to not get super fixated on, because you're never going to get it down to a perfect science, but just get an idea of what that's going to look like for a day, and then you'll be able to shoot for that. Okay. Next reason you might not be building muscle, number 3, not drinking enough water. So your body is made up of 2/3 water. Out of that, 2/3 of that water is found in your muscles. So your muscle cells are made up of protein and water. And if you want to gain more of it, you need to increase your water intake. So, the usual 6 to 8 glasses a day is a good guideline, but a more accurate approach is to drink half your weight in ounces of water each day. So if we're using our 150 pound example, that would be, takes out calculator again, 75 ounces. So the average cup, like a measuring cup, has 8 ounces in it. So that 75 ounces would equal 9 cups a day, which is very doable when you think the average size large glass is going to hold a couple cups, or a good sized bottle is going to contain 3 or 4. It's pretty doable. And don't forget, you do get a lot of water from your food, especially if you're eating a real whole foods diet with a lot of produce and greens and vegetables and things like that. So that's going to count towards your water intake. Okay. 4th reason you might not be building muscle, overtraining. So I said, you break your muscle tissue down in the gym and then you repair it afterwards. So it might seem logical, if this is new to you or whatever, that the more you work out, the more muscle building you'll accomplish. This isn't the case, though, however, as the constant training can cause your body to burn out. Your body will be basically forever trying to rebuild itself, but it's not getting the rest time to do that. That's going to increase your stress hormones, specifically things like cortisol. And then this overtraining is going to lead to injury, even sickness, as it's going to suppress your immune system. Your central nervous system is just taking a pounding if you're overtraining too much and not getting proper rest, and that's going to take you a few steps back. And that'll lead into the 5th point of not building muscle, is not getting enough sleep. So with the lack of sleep or overtraining, it's seriously going to derail any muscle building along with your health. So besides nutrition, the sleep is where your body actually repairs and recovers itself. The gym, muscle growth doesn't happen in the gym. You go in there, break it down, and then it happens when you eat and when you sleep. If you deprive yourself sleep, you're not allowing yourself to grow and repair and heal. And along with that, a lack of sleep can elevate your stress hormones again, which can make gaining body fat a lot easier, and it'll drag your energy levels down. Your workouts will be terrible. If you combine that with the overtraining, it's an absolute disaster, and people wonder why they're not getting any results. So you need to step back from the workouts. I wouldn't work out more. Ideally, 5 days a week is good. Every 2 days, maybe have a day off from there. It doesn't mean not to do anything. It just means not as super intense or strenuous. You can still do, like cardio and walks and hikes and things like that. But as far as the actual tough training, if you're doing a strength training workout, I'd cap it at 5. Okay, so that'll move into point number 6. You might not be eating enough carbs. So it depends what diet approach you're following. You might be doing well in a low carb diet, such as a paleo diet or a ketogenic diet, but they're not necessarily for everyone. If you're working out hard, you're going to need energy to do that, and your body can get it through the form of glucose from carbohydrates. So these carbs will help push you in the gym, help you lift more weights. That's going to lead to better muscle building. It's going to, help your daily energy, even things like your mood. But you want to keep these carbs super clean, though, as all carbs are not created equal. So you want to opt for the complex carbohydrates, the ones that take longer to break down. They're more gentle on your blood glucose levels. So things like wild rice, if you can find it, steel cut oats, sweet potatoes. Those are going to be some of your best bets. Okay, seventh reason you might not be building muscle, you're not lifting enough weight. So if your workouts are not challenging you, then you're going to need up the intensity. If you're doing an exercise, okay, say you're doing a dumbbell chest press, this is as an example, and you can do 20 plus repetitions on this thing and you can keep going, it's not going to be heavy enough to be sort of sufficient for breaking down the muscle. It's still going to be a form of a workout, but it's just if lean muscle is your goal, you want to choose a weight that is challenging and that you can't do over 15 reps. Shoot for 10 to 15 is a good goal while maintaining good form. So with the proper form and technique, you should around that 12, 13. It's going to vary, every workout, but around that point, you should not be able to do too many more repetitions with that proper form. And then you're lifting enough weight. So if you're just starting working out, it's going to take a few workouts to kind of track where your weights are. So you might want to record them down, whether you like keeping a notebook or just like using the notes app in your phone. Just keep an eye on where, it might take a week to get everything narrowed down, but or if you've been working out for a while, keep that in mind. If you can keep going past that 12, 15 repetition range, it's time to up the weight. So now point number 8, on the flip side of that, you might be lifting too much weight. And if you can only perform 4 to 5 reps, that weight is probably going to be too heavy for that good lean muscle gain you're looking for. You will gain strength, but then that's now you're getting in more of a powerlifting mode, and you want to be doing bigger compound lifts like deadlifts and squats and bench presses and cleans. And, for optimal strength, you want to be in sort of a 3 to 5 rep range, even 1 to 3, but that's getting into like super, super strength training stuff. So again, yeah, you build some strength, but the odds are in that repetition range, you're going to be really struggling with those weights. If you're not really like a seasoned, experienced strength training kind of powerlifting background, you're going to be probably fighting it. Your joints are going to be taking on too much brunt of the weight. You're barely going to be working the muscle that you're intending to train. So again, for better lean muscle building, go for that, 10 to 15 repetitions. Okay, then point number 9, you might be lifting weights too fast. So in order for muscle building, your muscles need what we call time under tension. And that's where the muscle fibers get the full resistance. And that's where the real muscle building can occur. If you perform a set of 10 repetitions, say we're shooting for that 10 to 15, and you do the 10 repetitions in like 10 seconds or 10 to 15 seconds, you just get up there and just like, bam, like 1, 2, 3, like just crank them out. You're not going to receive that necessary time under tension for your muscles to grow. You want sets that are going to last at least 30 to 45 seconds to achieve muscle growth. Some studies even say closer to a minute it's going to take. But if you're getting at least 30 seconds a set, you're more likely going to build proper, good, lean muscle. Okay, point number 10 that might be preventing you from gaining muscle is lifting with poor form. And just sort of like a reference a bit, if you're doing getting stuck in those lower rep ranges, this is where you want the challenging weight, but you want one you can control through those repetitions, that you can get that good 30 to 45 second rep range with. If you can't control the weights, like I mentioned, you're going to be working out everything but the intended muscle. If the weight is too heavy and the form is sloppy, you're going to be engaging your joints and your tendons much more than your muscles. This is going to lead to injury, strains, pulls, and then it's going to set you back, and you're really not going to be able to progress for the next however long it might take you to recover from whatever ailment you might have suffered. Okay, point number 11. We're flying through these, see? So this might seem weird, but it's not. One thing that might be preventing you from gaining muscle is not using what's called the mind-muscle connection. And it's not a wrestling tag team from the 80s. It's an actual thing of being aware of the muscle you're working. If you're doing a bicep exercise, you want to focus on the bicep and squeezing that muscle to produce the maximum muscle building effect. If you're doing say these bicep curls, and you're just going through the motion, you're not fully engaging the bicep. You want to focus on the muscles you're using and contract and squeeze them, and that's what's going to make them grow bigger and stronger. If you're, again, doing these bicep curls and you're more focused on, I mean, like your stance is important and core engagement is important, but if you're focused on like, you know, how your feet are positioned and whatever, or how your knees are maybe, you know, bending, again, you need to be aware of those things, but that's taking the focus away from the intended muscle that you're working. So in every exercise, like if it's a back exercise, be aware of your back pulling the muscle. Like if you're doing something like a seated row, you want to, you know, it's kind of a full upper body motion, but you're starting with your arms pulling the weight. You want to think about your elbows coming back, but imagine yourself pulling your shoulder blades back and together. Picture that there's like a pole that is in between your shoulder blades, and you're pulling your back and trying to grip and squeeze around that pole. That's just the idea I'm trying to get at when I say mind-muscle connection. Focus on the muscle that's working, and it's going to be better engaged, and that's where you'll get better muscle growth and better results. Okay, point number 12. You might not be getting good muscle growth because you're not stretching enough. So if you've done a workout and you just leave the gym, you're missing out on a very important part of muscle building. And I'm guilty of this too, because I just want to get the hell out of there when I'm done. Stretching at the end of a workout not only starts the recovery process, but it's going to help prepare your body for the next workout. Without stretching, you can leave your muscles pretty tight, and the stretching is also stretching your muscle fascia, which is like a bag that holds your muscle tissue. And when you stretch the fascia, you allow your muscles more room to grow. So at the end of the workout, you want to stretch just as sort of a recovery cool down phase, also to leave your muscles not feeling tight, you know, because there's a lot of blood been pumping in them, but it's also going to help the recovery and the growth process. You can also stretch muscles in between sets, and it's actually very encouraged and helpful for more muscle growth. And you can do, you know, if you've just finished an exercise and you're wait, another tip, you want to wait around a minute and 15 seconds in between each set. If your goal is muscle building, if you're looking for more of like a cardio circuit workout, that's a little different. But when we're talking strength training, it can be hard not to wait the specific time in between sets, but it is important because your cardiovascular system recovers quicker than your muscular endurance system. So you might feel ready to go after like 30, 45 seconds, but your muscles won't necessarily be. So you'll jump into the next set, it'll start fine, but then you'll kind of hit the wall around like 4 or 5 reps. So you need at least a minute and 15 seconds is seen as the time in between for optimal recovery. If you're doing bigger, heavier lifts like squats, deadlift, you're better going for like a 2-minute recovery phase, even up to 3 minutes, because it is a full body exertion. It takes a lot more, you know, central nervous system recruitment. It's working all the muscles in your body, your core. But for smaller muscle groups like, you know, your arms or your shoulders, or, you know, things like that, you can do, you know, at least get that minute in, ideally a minute and 15 seconds. So, but while you're waiting in between sets, that's a good time to stretch the muscles out as well. So it's just going to help them function and perform better, but it's also going to help allow for more muscle growth. Okay. Last point, lucky number 13. For reasons you might not be building muscle, you're not getting in enough nutrients each day. So you might be getting, like I said, you might be getting a good amount of carbs. You might be getting a good amount of protein, and you're getting in the sufficient calories, but you still need all the micronutrients important for muscle growth. The macronutrients are protein, fat, and carbs, and technically water, I guess. So, but micronutrients are all the vitamins and minerals. And if you're deficient in certain vitamins and minerals, it can throw your body off as far as muscle building. So you need a good vegetable and fruit intake. And notice I say vegetable and fruit, not fruits and vegetables, because you want to aim for double-digit servings of non-starchy vegetables each day. That's going to be more likely to get you all those micronutrients that you need. Dark green leafy vegetables are going to be some of the best. It's going to indicate that dark green color is going to indicate more chlorophyll content. It's going to have more phytonutrients, more antioxidants, more vitamins and minerals, but you still want to eat like a full range of colors. Like they say, eat the rainbow, not Lucky Charms, but eat, the actual colors. So, I mean, color wise, your best things are going to be obviously the greens. Next would be purple things, and then red, and those are going to be like your top colors. But eat a variety of things as you can. But again, make those vegetables, the non-starchy vegetables, double-digit servings if you can. You can add a multivitamin in as well, just to keep yourself covered. You don't want to rely on supplements, but I think in this case, a multivitamin is probably one of the best things you could take, just because if it's one of those days where you can't get everything, it's at least going to keep you covered. Again, don't depend on it. Also to the fact that, as our overgrowth of produce and commercial farming is growing, our quality of food has decreased, especially as we've overused the soils and the nutrient content from the soils, which puts it into the food, has gotten worse and worse. So a head of lettuce or whatever is going to be a little more depleted in nutrients than it was, say, 30 years ago. If you can get organic, that's still going to be the best thing. But a multivitamin is just going to be kind of a good backup support. Okay, so let's wrap it up here. And if you're getting into fitness, or if you've been doing it for a while and you maybe hit a stumbling block or whatever, just, remember, muscle building doesn't happen overnight. It takes hard work. It takes some planning. It takes some dedication, consistency. You also want to make sure, though, you're not spinning your tires and making sure you're not making all these muscle building mistakes I just mentioned, because they can delay your progress. So if you focus on being consistent with all of them, consistent in the gym, that consistency really is what drives results. The specific training programs you can get into, and the diet adjustments, they're important, but consistency at the end of the day is really what drives results. So let's wrap it up there. Hope you liked it. If you have any more questions regarding training or whatnot, you can write to me at info@regainedwellness.com. I check everything, so feel free to say hi, say what's up. I'll leave it here. If you haven't already subscribed to the show, if you really like it, leave a rating and review. That way more people get to see it. And that'll be it for me. See you later. Oh, and if you're working out, don't forget to stretch your hamstrings. Bye. So the fitness boom is just starting into the 80s. But when the Walkman first hit, that's when the actual movement started happening. And millions of people started using the Walkman to exercise, from running to training in the gym. You could now listen to what you wanted instead of whatever crap was blaring over the gym speakers. And they actually pinpoint the Walkman as creating the actual aerobics craze that turned more people onto getting fit, because now it's like customization, personalization. From 1987 to 1997, which is the height of the popularity of the Walkman, the number of people who said they started walking for exercise increased by 30%, because they can now take their music with them. And again, this all leads the way to the MP3 player, ultimately the iPod, and then the fitness movement grew even more from there. Like, as far as more gyms being opened up, more people being active, more people running, more people having, now you have, with the Walkman, you can only take a cassette or two with you, but obviously with the iPod, you can have every song ever made or ever recorded, and make multiple playlists and stuff like that. And then but it all starts with the Walkman and the boom in the fitness craze, and encouraging and motivating more people to get fit. So a bit. Hopefully you like this. It's, kind of half of a trip down memory lane, but also, seeing the things that happened in the past that are getting us to where we are today. And, the Walkman cements itself in part of 80s pop culture. It again, like, led to the Discman, the MP3 player, to now the phone that you're listening to. So hopefully, if you like this show, let me know. You can always email me at info@regainedwellness.com. Or if you want to see other topics like this covered, let me know. Or if you hate it, let me know too. Either way is good. So I'll finish up here. Thanks for listening. Again, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you really like it, leave it a rating and review. If you're working out right now or exercising, have a good rest of the workout. Everyone else, stay fit, stay healthy, and remember to stretch your hamstrings. You know who you are.